more shocked than anything. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't more shocked of him dying. I was more shocked.
Do you have any comment on the resignation of Lanny Brewer and the performance of the Department of Justice with prosecutions of the finance industry? Can you comment as to why there have been no prosecutions of bankers on Wall Street?
Other than to say I've been disappointed by the lack thereof. That's all I can say. That's all. I mean, I don't know what more I can say. I'm not going to identify people who should be prosecuted. That's, I think, inappropriate for someone in the legislative branch. It's an executive branch, a prosecutor's decision as to whether to prosecute. And I happen to be just generally disappointed that there have not been prosecutions.
You're aware of your appearance in the Frontline documentary detailing...
I've heard rumors of it. I have not seen it.
Yes, it was from your hearings
Right.
on...
That's what I heard.
Yes, with Lloyd Blankfein. And your reaction...
Can I ask?
I'm with the Young Turks. I'm the producer and host of a show called The Undercurrent.
Okay, thank you for
I'll give you my card.
That's okay. That's what I don't. Just curious who I'm talking to.
Well, you know,
It doesn't change my answers any. I just an old curious guy. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
No, when I watched the hearings and the interplay between you and Lloyd Blankfein, I saw that you were just so angry about the calamity that they had caused on Wall Street, and so, why isn't that anger carried over into action on the part of the DOJ?
We referred the transcript of that hearing to the Department of Justice. It's their responsibility to decide whether or not to prosecute people. I thought that the activity of Goldman Sachs, as well as the activity of the other people we investigated, starting with a bank in the state of Washington. We had a year-long investigation, a big hearing on that bank. I thought their activity was abhorrent. I thought the lack of regulatory activity by the regulator here was abhorrent, and I was very critical of them. I thought that the failures of the credit rating agencies in our third hearing was abominable, and I thought that the activities of Goldman Sachs were abominable in treating their clients as though they were enemies and saying that basically they could sell junk to their clients and then bet against those clients. I thought is abhorrent to me. It's abhorrent, okay? And so we said that in our report as a bipartisan report. We sent it to the Justice Department.
In your opinion, do you think there's sufficient evidence to prosecute?
I can't. I'm not going to substitute my legislative opinion and oversight and investigative opinion for an opinion that has to come from the executive branch. I'm just not going to do it. It'd be, I think, improper for me to talk about who should get prosecuted and who shouldn't. We have a different function. We have an oversight function. We have an investigative function on the legislative side, and it'd be, I think, improper for me to say that a certain person or company ought to be prosecuted.
Well, I'm certainly not asking you to identify individuals, so that would be welcome. Well, but I said, do you think that there's evidence to prosecute?
That's
to prosecute
the same thing.
Any banker. I'm not asking you to name an individual, but don't you think there's sufficient...
I think there was abhorrent activity on the part of bankers.
Worthy of prosecution.
No, I'm not. That's what you're trying to get me to say, and I'm trying to say it'd be inappropriate for me to say that. I think there's abhorrent activity on the part of regulators, abhorrent activity on the part of credit rating agencies, and of the bank in Washington called WABA, Washington Mutual Bank. And I think it was abhorrent, immoral, and I think we laid out a very strong record in that regard. But on the prosecution question, and let me tell you, it's tempting. You're tempting me. You're not the first to try to answer a question about whether.
Well, I asked because I feel the outrage. I feel your outrage,
good.
and I wonder why
I'm glad the outrage comes through, but
it did.
I'm not the prosecutor.
Having watched you in those hearings, I felt like you were a real...
Yeah, I am. I'm outraged. I'm glad it came through. I'm very much outraged, but I am not going to...
It's just extremely disappointing to see that it hasn't carried over.
I told you I was disappointed in the lack of prosecutions, but I'm not going to say that there
was...
No,
I understand. I appreciate your time.
Sure.
Senator?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Inside the book of Revelations, demons came from heavenly places, and it makes me wonder if I'm under some sort of spiritual matrix with the truth pulled over my eyes, with the evil forces that compromise my state of mind. Have I been hypnotized to believe in lies?